Good evening. Tonight we have with us Howard, KC3 LUE, to talk to us about the Rockville Science Center, which has these great resources that our club has access to, thanks to Howard and all his great work. And we run a lot of our labs there, and our people, in fact, our hybrid meetings, the people that show up in person, they're at the Rockville Science Center. So for those of you that don't know, it's a great place, wonderful people, and Howard is here to tell us more about it. So over to you, Howard.
All right, thank you, Alex. So good evening, I am indeed Howard. I'm the Rockville Science Center's program coordinator. I mostly handle external and third-party programs for the Rockville Science Center. I'm a system engineer by training, having been forced to change careers. I was an apprentice watchmaker, and some mean old engineers invented digital and throwaway wristwatches. I'm also a MARC member. And with that, welcome to the Rockville Science Center. And papers to cheat with, I will use them. So we are an interactive space for people of all ages, and the age groups are from ages 7 to adult. We have occasional programs for people as young as 5 years old. Like I suspect the MARC Club is, we are a 5C3. Our funding comes from all kinds of wonderful sources. The City of Rockville's sponsorships from scientific organizations and program fees, as well as donations. Donations, to quote Blanche Dubois from The Streetcar Named Desire, that we are always dependent on the kindness of strangers. We were a science center without walls. We started out in 1989 as the Rockville Consortium for Science, just to put on the Rockville Science Day Festival. Until 2020, we were a science center without walls, and we provided STEM exhibits to schools and communities and venues like Rockville Hometown Holidays. We moved to a brick and mortar building in Rockville Town Center a few weeks before having to close it for a year and a half for a pandemic. And we do programs, and I'm not going to read all the programs, but I'll mention some highlights. Are, of course, the youth and adult classes, the after-school programs, our summer camps, which are going very strong at the moment. We do rocketry and robotics and drones. We do first Lego leagues. We have science lectures, so our Rockville Science Cafe, which I'll talk about a little more later, and our Rockville Science Tuesday. We have the United States Chess Federation Chess Club, the only US CF chess club in Montgomery County. We have an adult math club, and we have a radio amateur meetup. Next time any of you have a birthday party, you can do it at the Science Center. And you can see from the list, we just have, I could spend hours telling you all the programs. We have two buildings. Our storefront in Rockville Town Center. We run programs for all ages to lost my place, but we have sites for youth programs, adult classes, our summer camps, as I mentioned, are going on, and our clubs meet at the storefront, like our robotics teams, our engineering clubs, and our scouting programs. The MARC Club often meets there with our amateur meetup group, and the space is for rent. And we have a makerspace, a place where all ages come and build, learn and create. Many of the programs we had at the makerspace were in the public library in Rockville and moved to the Rockville Town Center, the new site. If you have an opportunity, come in and work on a project. The makerspace is still in a soft opening as we add tools and get experts to help with projects. It's community driven, so many of our programs are run by community organizations, as the Mark Club did when they did some radio antenna and dummy load classes in our space. You know, a lot of you know Rockville Science Day better than I do. The club has been doing it for many years, longer than I've been a member of the Rockville Science Center. It's our signature event. Many people have chaired Rockville Science Day over the past 33 years. I've had the pleasure of chairing the event since 2018, and I missed 2 years. Actually, everybody missed 2 years. It takes me about 8 months to put the event together. What's nice about the festival, it's not a kiddie event. It's targeted for families. And so that means kids, their science-minded parents, and their grandparents. Many of the adults in the audience are customers of our exhibitors. And so we have a close connection that way. The photos on my slide include the Westminster Astronomy Club, a young lady doing a STEM activity, the Mark logo. Mark is a very big exhibit at the Rockville Science Day. And you'll see a bunch of young people standing in a row next to some government dignitaries. They are Montgomery Science Fair participants receiving certificates of participation. The Rockville Science Center is a participant in the Montgomery County Science Fair. And we have a young man doing a STEM art activity. And of course, I'm looking to seeing all of you again at Rockville Science Day in 2025. So more cool pictures. These are highlights from past Rockville Science Days. In 2010, Dr. Mark Orkand, the creator of the Klingon language and the Klingon dictionary and grammar manual, presented at our short talks. He was amazing. What else can I say except Kaplach Bach Ya? The photo next to him is the T-Rex at the Montgomery College Science Building. The T-Rex is breathing down the neck of some of our exhibitors. And next to that is a German encryption machine, an Enigma machine from the National Cryptologic Museum. The musicians are the band's Sticky G. They performed this year at our main stage, and they have been there for many years, performing at Rockville Science Day. X Energy was at the fair at Rockville Science Day, and they presented short talks about their X100 modular nuclear reactor, which is very close to getting approval from the Department of Energy to be a small portable nuclear reactor for businesses. Sadly, though, the college wouldn't allow them to split an atom on campus. And finally, I didn't have any pictures of the Montgomery County Amateur Radio Club at Rockville Science Day, but I did have a picture of Dave Byrne working with one of our scouts at our recent field day. Dave is also at Rockville Science Day. We do tours. We do behind the scene tours at local science and technology sites. They're fun. They're a chance to meet talk with other Rockville Science Center enthusiasts. They're always, like I said, behind the scene. We occasionally have, they're mostly senior citizens, but we occasionally have homeschool families attend our events. The pictures, the first photograph on the top left-hand side is the Holcim Mid-Atlantic Trazilla Quarry, carefully hidden behind the universities of Shady Grove by a forested berm. You would never know it's there unless someone told you it was there. The little green outhouse-looking thing is Dr. Edward Stonestreet Museum of 19th century Maryland in Rockville. It's an awesome tour with a period docent acting as Dr. Edward Stonestreet. One interesting fact is every time Dr. Stonestreet is a student had to go to medical school at Maryland University, he walked from Rockville to Baltimore and back once a week. And again, we have a photograph of the National Cryptographic Museum's World War II Enigma machine. They have one of the largest collection of Enigma machines from Germany, Japan, and the United States in the world. And finally, a photo of the Air and Space Museum, one of our favorite haunts to visit. And we have done so many trips. We've gone to the, we've done geologic walks on Great Falls, where some of the rocks are the oldest rocks in North America. We've done geology walks at Cunningham Falls, where the rocks are almost 1 billion years old. We've taken trips to the U.S. Pharmacopoeia, an organization that's been in business since the Revolutionary War. We've done the National Electronics Museum, Gallaudet University, and again, I could go on all night. Lily Pond's Water Garden. This week, we're going to go to Integrated Pharma Services, a contract laboratory in Rockville. And our science lectures. All our science lectures had been in restaurants or at various locations pre-pandemic. Our Science Tuesday lecture now meets as a hybrid at the Rockville Senior Center on the second Tuesday of the month from 1 to 2 p.m. And our Rockville Science Cafe is fully online. You know, one of the cool things about putting them online is the commute is easy. So if you live in the United Kingdom or you live in Canada or the West Coast, I can get exhibitors from everywhere. I don't have to struggle just to find local exhibitors or presenters, if you will. We've talks on Earth's magnetic field. We had demonstrations of quantum computing, a lot of fun stuff. It's always a talk with a scientist. It's almost never a general audience talk. It's usually a talk for a science-minded audience. You know, we have a relationship with Scouting, a very long relationship with Scouting. Just some background. The Boy Scouts of America changed their name. You'll see more of that change in February, but the change has begun to happen. It's no longer called the Boy Scouts of America. That's hard to do, and you now are allowing a co-ed, having a co-ed program. The new name is Scouting America. We have been co-ed since 2019. But as an FYI, we've actually had young ladies in the Scouting program since the 1950s. So we've had, 1972. So we've had young ladies in the program for over 50 years in the Explorer program and 30 years in the Venture program. Sometimes the news doesn't get it right, but we have had a lot of co-ed programs. So the Rockville Science Center and Scouting. I mentioned we had a long relationship. We have an Explorer Post. It's a high school-based program. The kids do robotics, rocketry, and drones, or unmanned flight. They're all team organizations. They compete with other teams. They get to travel and compete locally, regionally, and nationally. We have a STEM lab, a very new program for elementary school kids. They get a box, and in that box are the good things for doing different science projects, and they work together to complete their projects. So they get a box for chemistry and a box for material science and a box for biology. And every week they work through a box. It's an amazing program. We have a Cub Scout pack. They meet in Germantown, Maryland, and we have a traditional, used to be called Boy Scout troop. It's now a Scout BSA troop. It is a boy troop, though. We do not have an affiliated girl troop with our Scout troop yet. And some happy faces from our Scout program. Top left, we have the STEM lab with younger kids. Next to it, to the right, we have the robotics team. You can see 2 rockets from our rocketry team and some of the scouts from a recent camporee in Frederick, Maryland. Amateur radio. I don't know the entire history of the Rockville Science Center and how long they've been working with the Mark Club. I've only been with the Rockville Science Center for 8 years, and I know we go much further back. The Rockville Science Center hosts Mark licensing sessions. They're a longtime participant in Rockville Science Day. It's the current site of some of our monthly meetings, so the hybrid meetings. The in-person is here. And we host workshops. Let's see, in the winter, we hosted with the MACA-ACS a WinLink workshop run by Al Taylor. Later in the year, we hosted 2 J-pole antenna workshops and a dummy load watt meter workshop run by Mark member Bob Fontana. We have a newer radio meetup. It's a place for aspiring, new, and accomplished amateurs to learn, solve a problem, and socialize. Our program's not affiliated with any radio club, and we hope to get more local radio clubs involved. And we welcome a radio club to be take over the program, but at the moment it is our program. The Rockville Science Center and the community. And from our earliest inception, our mission has been to increase science literacy, encourage young people to have an interest in science, to help people understand the underlying principles of science, and to establish a community science center here in Rockville. And just a few final thoughts. Again, we promote literacy. We encourage visitors to become lifelong learners. We hope to stimulate the next generation to satisfy the growing local and global demand for their skills and knowledge. And with that, I think I've covered everything I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Howard. Do we have any questions? Tom, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. When you do the Rockville Science Day, how does a group sign up for that? The Morse Telegraph Club is interested in this year in participating.
Probably the easiest thing is to get in touch with me, and then we put you to the link for registering.
Okay. And then the other question goes backward a little bit to the previous thing. The what was the longest distance traveled for a scout that qualified this year? Does anybody know? Because last year we had one come all the way from New York State to get his radio merit badge. And I wondered if we'd beat that this year.
And that lady from New York State was furious at me that Damascus didn't have a hotel. We had to send her to Frederick. This year we had a family from Pennsylvania, about 3 hours away. Had a lot of fun having people be that interested in the merit badge and come all this distance.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
Well, yeah, this is David, W2LNX. Howard, to answer your question, yeah, we got involved as a club when I got wind of an organizational meeting to organize the makerspace in the Rockville Library. So I showed up and here we are, you know. So we did run things there. We had several workshops. We used to run regularly scheduled test sessions. And yeah, it was a very nice facility. And then COVID hit. And here we are.
And of course, I would not have become a ham if I had not known about the radio club. I knew about it because of the Rockville Science Center.
Okay, well, thank you, Howard, for that presentation.
My pleasure.